In this video, I'm going to show you how to create a streaming dataset using API. Now, I'm in app.powerbi.com interface and I have already created a workspace named as Girish Dev. So within this workspace, I'm going to create something called as a streaming dataset. So basically, it allows you to build visuals from real-time data. So I'll click on streaming data set. Now I've already covered a video with regards to PubNub. Now this is the next one, API. So if I click on API, what it allows you to do is like it will allow you to define your own API. So from a dataset name perspective, we need to name the dataset. So maybe let's call it as city humidity. So this is my dataset name and values from stream. From here, we can decide how the data structure should be shaped into. So first, what we are going to do, we are going to pick up number and we're going to call it as humidity. So this is the humidity, and let's pick up a city name. Now city will always remain same for us, so I'll just put city as a text, and I'll put a date time. Now this date time is for like for a period of time. I want to check the humidity, and then we can put any other parameters if we want. Okay, so I'm not going to put much parameters over here. Now this is what I've got a sample data, right? And I can turn on the historic data analysis if I want to do some analysis. So yes, I can turn that on as well. So this is a simple data set. I can add as many columns I want, but for the sake of demo, I'm just going to keep it simple. So I have a humidity, which is a number, field, city, text, date time, and I'll click on create. Now I'm creating a streaming data set. Now this is the raw item which gets outputted. PowerShell, this is a command which will allow you to generate that data set. So what we're going to do, we're going to copy this. Okay, so I'll just copy this and I'm going to open PowerShell. So let me type in Windows PowerShell and I'm going to open Windows PowerShell ISC, run as administrator. Yes, and then I'll just paste this section, this entire code. Okay, now let's come back to that later. I'll click on done. Now we have created a streaming data set which is called as city humidity. As you see over here, it's a semantic model. Now from here, I'll just click on new and click on dashboard, and I'll call it as city dashboard, or maybe I'll just name it as Brisbane city dashboard. Okay, so I'll click on create. Now this is my dashboard. It has nothing in it currently. So I'll click on add and I'll click on add a tile. And then from here, I'll select custom streaming data, next. And from here, I need to pick up which data set I want to pick. So city humidity is the one which I just created. So I'll click on city humidity. I'll click on next. Card, so I want card first, so I'll just add a card and then I'll select field as humidity because that's a numeric field which I have selected. So click on next. I can put subtitle Brisbane city humidity, and I'll click on apply. So this is the card which I can see over here. So this is one of the card, right? Now I can adjust the size, add a tile, again custom streaming data set, next, select city humidity, click on next, and this time I'm going to add line chart. So in the axis, I'll select date time, legend, I'll select city, uh, and values, I'll select humidity, and I'll click on next. Humidity by date time city, uh, I'll just say apply. Now this is another visual which I have added. So this is how the visual will look like. Okay. Now there is no data, right? Within that streaming data set, we have copied the PowerShell command. So what we can do, we can take this command. This is the command. Okay. So I'll just close this from here. So this is the PowerShell command which I have copied. So in case if you miss copying this command, what you can again do is like you can go to say I'll open it in a different screen and show it to you. Like you can again retrieve back the command if in case you have not copied it. So you can go to the workspace, go to Girish Dev workspace or whatever workspace you have, and then pick up uh, the semantic model, and then from here you can go to API info. So if I click on API info, I will be able to see the raw, the curl command, and the PowerShell. So you can copy from here, right? So this is how it's simple it is. Now, okay, let's populate this dashboard. Now, in order to do that, go into a command and make sure that you have this record created correctly. Now in place of city, I will just put Brisbane, okay, because it has randomly generated something. So I have this date time, and I will just control A, select all the command, and then click on run. The moment I do that, you should see over here, okay. So you should see technically one data point being generated, right? Now if I run this command again, it will again generate that same data point because we are running that same command, right? So we need to have some sort of a randomness, right? So what we're going to do, we are going to draft some script. Okay, now that drafting of script is very simple. First you need to understand what this command does. What this command does is basically it has an endpoint. It hits that endpoint, and then it passes this payload and run this invoke command. So endpoint will always remain same, right? So endpoint will always remain same. What we need to do, we need to do a looping. Okay, now we do a continuous loop. So we'll just say while dollar true, we do a continuous loop, put the braces over here, and we just close the brace over here. So that means it will run continuously. But the problem is it will pick up this data every time, right? This is fine, city is Brisbane every time, but date time and humidity should change, right? So what we're going to do, we're going to write a simple command. We'll just say initialize a variable called as x, okay? And what that x is going to do, x is going to pick up some random value. So get dash random. So it will give a random value from say minimum 1 to maximum as maybe 100. Okay, humidity ranges from 1 to 100, let's assume that. And we are going to put a date time because we need an current date time, right? So I'll just call this as variable y, okay. And in order to get that date time, you just can use this command get date, right? Get date. But we need it in some format, right? So that format is basically we convert into universal time, and then we'll just close this, and we convert that into a string so that we can convert the formatting. So the formatting is y dash mm dash d. Then the time component comes in colon mm ss. So this is the syntax basically. So y mm dd t ss. So make sure the casing is correct, and if everything is good, so we have copied two components, initialize two variable x and y, right? And also maybe once this command is executed, let's put some sleep over here. So start dash sleep, I'll just put interval as 1. Okay, now okay, let's take this value dollar $x and assign it somewhere, right? So this is humidity, so I'll just replace this with here. So I'll just say okay, this is here, and dollar $y, which is a date time, which is current date time. So I'll just copy, and then I'll remove the hard coded value from here. So this is a simple script we have generated, right? Nothing fancy, just two component in it, and everything should be good. So if there's no syntax error, let me copy this, okay, and let me minimize this and show it to you. So we have just copied it, just minimize this, and then I'll just run this. Okay, I'll just click play. Now see what happens. If the command executes successfully, it will continuously start generating that record set. So it is continuously running, and now as you see over here, it is continuously generating this random number, and you should see in the graph here as well the data being generated. Now as this is uh, per uh, per second, so it might take a while for this data to appear over here in the graph, but this record is currently being created every time. As you see over here, the number ranges from 2 5 66, and then you should be able to see the graph soon over here, right? Now again, whatever value you have selected in the graph, you can again, depending on your situation or scenario, you can change it. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to add another type called as custom streaming data, and then I'll add city humidity next, and then this time I'll select clustered bar chart, okay. Or maybe let's pick up line chart itself. Axis date time, legend is city, and value humidity, and I'll click on next. and I'll click on apply. Now, as I did this, as you see over here, it has started plotting this information, right? Now, what happened with this graph is because if I click on edit, I'll see city axis as daytime, legend as city, values as humidity. I'm not sure why this is not populating, but then let me select a clustered bar chart and then put a date time, and I'll just legend as city, values as humidity. I'll click on apply. Now this is that another clustered bar chart, right? So it is automatically generating. And as you see over here, this is dynamically generating those values. So you can play around with the visual like this. And this is a streaming data set, right? So this is continuously generating this value in a minute. Now, depending on your scenario, you can extract the data from the streaming data set from Azure as well. Now, as this is continuously running, it is as you see over here, I've just run this, and this is a while loop. While dollar true means it will continuously run. Now, if you want to stop it, what you can do, you can go into your command prompt, and then just say Control C, and then stop it. Okay. So Control C, this command is stop. Now, once it stops, there's no more data. This is a static graph you will see. So that's it, folks. This is how you basically use an API for a custom streaming data set to generate a continuously rendered report. Thanks for watching.